numbers, but our history studies by archaeologists also say that people who lived in those years in those regions were probably not more than 6 feet tall. So it's not clear exactly like what happened, what was correct, what was not correct, and we just have to keep probing more. But I find the idea fascinating to think of like what could have existed in sacred texts that was only partially communicated to the next generation and having a lot of like reinterpretations. Another thing that is very interesting to think about is Vedic math. So that basically Vedic math is like a branch of mathematics that some people in India are grown up learning. Like I read it myself too, and some people actually practice it just to be sharper at mental math for doing their exams, like GMAT and things like that, GRE, and it has like a line in the Vedas that says, oh, like one from the last digit, two from the first digit, whatever. So many different ways of multiplying two different numbers, like 97 times 96. Oh, like subtract the last two digits, put it right, multiply the first digits, put it in the left. That's the result. And then you wonder like, oh wait, the Rig Veda is so old. It's as old as is the oldest sacred text out there. How is it describing computation? That feels
right,
very unreal. Like, do they actually know or understand advanced forms of computation even back in those days? And
how old is Rig Veda?
I don't exactly know how old it is.
Why don't we put that into Perplexity?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's find out.
Yeah. Yeah, it is technically the oldest sacred text out there.
And so what's interesting is I wonder how old the stories were by the time they were written down. Like how much of it is relayed person to person for years and years, just like the Bible, before it's ever actually written down. Scholars usually date the composition of the Rig Veda to about 1500 to 1200 BCE. So its oldest layer is roughly 3,200, 3,700 years old today. Like, if there really was, like, every ancient culture has a story of a flood. Everyone, they all have an apocalyptic
and
story.
Mahabharata had the same thing.
Was it?
Mahabharata had the same thing where there was a big, like, almost like a tsunami-like thing. I don't exactly know what it was called, but that was the collapse of Lord Krishna's kingdom, Dwarka. After the war, a lot of people died, but some people survived, and even those who survived got wiped out by a calamity or like some kind of like a fight among themselves. And most of the people who participated in that era actually died.
Here it is. The primordial, how do you say it, Manu?
Yeah.
Manu flood. Classic Hindu great flood myth where the righteous king Manu is warned by a divine fish about an imminent deluge that will destroy humanity. He builds a boat, loads it with his family. It's like Noah and the Ark. It's the same thing. With seeds and animals, ties it to the horn of the god in fish form, which tows the boat to safety until the waters recede and the world is repopulated. They all have the same story.
Yeah.
That's what's really crazy.
There is a concept in Hindu philosophy called the yugas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm reading a book about it right now.
Yeah. So there's like different yugas, and yugas are like thousands of years. And the concept is that the yugas keep cycling around. And so like we are in the Kali Yuga right now. And before that was a Dwapara Yuga. That's when most of Mahabharata happened. And before that, there was a Treta Yuga where the Ramayana happened. And before that, there was another Yuga.
What is next after Kali Yuga?
No, there is nothing next after Kali Yuga. It goes back to the first one. I forget the name of the first Yuga.
Because the interpretation that I'm reading is that we're not in Kali Yuga anymore, and that Kali Yuga ended in the 1900s and Dwapara Yuga started then.
No, we are in Kali Yuga right now.
100%.
100%.
So why do people have different interpretations? Like, is there?
Is that true?
Yeah, there's like a guru interpretation. There's like one specific guru.
I see.
That has this interpretation that Kali Yuga ended in the 1900s.
Okay.
And that we're moving on.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know who's right because it's an enormous cycle, right? The cycles of humanity.
Yeah, thousands of years.
Yeah,
thousands of years. And
so
these are the four yugas.
So why do people have different interpretations? Let me tell you the book I'm reading.
Yeah.
See if this book is discredited, young Jamie. It is. It's by a guy named David Steinowitz. Steinmetz. David Steinmetz. The book is called The Yugas.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is when someone's got their own interpretation or some guru's interpretation, it doesn't totally align. It's hard to know who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah.
Keys to understanding our hidden past, emerging energy age, and enlightened future. Yeah. So that go back up to that again. So this is in the description. See what it says that? Where it says, in 1894, an Indian sage gave us an explanation not only for our hidden past, but for the trends of today and for future enlightenment. So there's like one guy's interpretation that this guy is going off of.
I guess the difference might be that he thinks the Yuga cycle is 24,000 years, whereas I think it's probably much longer than that.
Yeah. 4 yugas together is 4,320,000 years. You know what's really nutty?
Yeah.
One of the really nutty things is both in the ancient Sumerian texts and in some of the ancient Egyptian texts, there's depictions before the flood of people who reigned for thousands of years as kings.
Yeah.
And it's common. It's not, and it's also, they're referenced multiple times in different scripts that are from different parts of what was Sumer at the time.
Yeah.
It's really weird because they take it as established history once it gets to a certain age. Once they get into like whatever the age is where they can verify that this person was the king for a certain period of time. But it's all in the same text as people that reigned for 6,000 years.
Yeah.
It's
and then
weird.
one event just wipes out the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is also somewhat like tangentially related to the Fermi paradox. You know, like if you assume all these things are happening on Earth itself, that entire civilizations are getting wiped out. And like we always wonder. I mean, you've explored this topic the most, and where are the aliens?
Right.
And there are different arguments that like, okay, like the reason we haven't quite found that is because the Great Filter exists, and there is like one entertaining theory that I like, just for the sake of entertainment, is almost all civilizations end up advancing technologically a lot, and either a calamity wipes them out, or like they build some misaligned AGI and then AGI wipes them out. And because of that, they never actually like end up being visible to us. Or the other theory is that like they're like we haven't quite built the Von Neumann probes to actually go find them, and both of them are plausible. And there's no clear way to like know unless we actually like send out enough probes.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We've come a long way with mental health, but there's still some very professional that they are observing and that they don't want to interfere, and that we are on some sort of a evolutionary cycle, a cycle of cultural evolution, civilization evolution.
Yeah.
And one of the things about this, the crazy ages that comes from the Sumerian text and from the ancient, the hieroglyphs that depict the Zeptet, how do you say it? Zepteti? No. How am I saying that? What is that text, that ancient, remember we talked about it with Zahi Hawass and he denied its existence? Zeptepi? Is that it? Either way, you're dealing with these kings that reigned for thousands and thousands of years. Well, you know, David Sinclair is in the middle of this research now that's they're working on life extension drugs, like that are actionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Zeptepi.
Yeah. I've heard of it.
So but this is what's so weird. If they look at hieroglyphs, they get to a certain point and they're like, oh, Khufu, he was real. This guy was real. All these people were real.
Yeah.
But then they get back to these guys that reigned for thousands of years, and they go, oh, that was just horseshit.
Yeah.
But why is it that all these people have these stories that align with this timeline that's pre-flood? It's all like the same story.
Yeah.
And then if you're talking about these ancient Hindu scriptures that are discussing technology that seems remarkably similar to technology that we have today.
Yeah, the
You gotta go-
Vimanas are flying cars, basically.
and probably what we're going to have 100 years from now or whatever it is. Or we could have gone that way in the past.
And it's very entertaining to think of, like, let's say something happens to us, right? I don't want anything to happen to us, but let's say something happens to us, and would people really believe we were, like, launching reusable rockets?
Right. Or making FaceTime calls to people in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even fundamental things, like all we're doing today, I think it's all, like, incredible. Like, there's a lot of things that could be just technological ideas, or maybe people actually had it and the knowledge of it was lost, and it's not been documented, it's not been passed along, and so we are skeptical if they ever had it. And
Yes.
And so we end up reinventing it in different forms again and again and again, and we keep cycling through this process.
Well, it also could be that this is the natural progression of human curiosity. That human curiosity and ingenuity always moves into these very particular ways. Like, what's the best way to defeat my enemies?
Yeah.
If we're always going to be territorial primates, we're always going to want to defeat our enemies. We're always going to protect ourselves from being invaded. So we're going to make better and just with technological innovation, it just goes down the same path. Oh, we figure out bullets. Oh, we figure out nuclear bombs. Well, we figure out, well, we don't even have to use an actual plane. We can use an autonomous drone, and that delivers it. And then scale upwards and onwards, and AI, and then also life extension. So if these people were able to make the pyramids, like, you know, there's a lot of speculation as to the timeline of the pyramids, but let's just say they really built it 2,500 BC. Let's just say back then. What the fuck were they using? Like, what did you do? How did you get these stones down from the mountains that were 500 miles away?
How about this one?
How about that one?
Yeah.
We were going to get to that for sure. There's a ton. No, what's good as any. How about these temples that they find in India that are carved entirely out of one piece of stone? What did you do? How did you do that? How long ago did this happen? How many of them were buried and then they had to uncover them and then, like, figure out, like, what is this? Who made it? There's no timeline. No one really knows. There's no evidence of tools that were capable of doing this kind of work back then. And they're huge and beautiful and perfect. And they have, like, acoustic properties, and the geometry is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's nuts,
It's
man.
not just that. All of these temples were actually just built, not just... They were specifically... The locations for them are picked out so that you get the right seismic vibrations over there. In terms of, like, proximity to the ocean, the gravitational waves from the sun and the moon. People actually made that level of, like...
Look at this, man. Imagine the undertaking of carving that temple out of the side of a fucking giant piece of rock.
Yeah.
You screw up one thing, and it's over.
There's no simulations. You just have to, like, build it.
But what did they have? This is the question. Like, imagine today if we had to do this. Look, it's possible. This is a possible endeavor. It can be done.
Yeah.
But imagine what kind of technology we have to need to map it out, to make sure that it was all precise, that it all aligned. I mean, it's precise within, like, millimeters from point to point. And everything is done out of one piece of stone. Like, what did they do? Was it chisels? Did you do that with chisels? That's crazy. How many times do you have to sharpen your fucking chisel? That's nuts. Or did you have something completely different? Because some of the more intricate ones, see if you can find these. Some of the crazy ones inside these temples, there's sculptures that are three-dimensional. And they're carved, like, inside of the sculpture. So there's, like, an outer area, and then there's all these openings, and then inside it's highly detailed. Like, how'd you even reach in there?
It just says they use chisels and hammers, and I don't think that's possible.
And careful
People have
geometric
tried.
planning.
Geometric
I've
planning.
seen videos
Yeah.
of people trying to do that. They said, like, this is how much work someone could do in, like, 12 hours with a hammer, and they get nowhere, let alone like perfect and looking good.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. And there's a lot of evidence of stuff like that all over the world, which is really weird. You have the stuff in Peru, like Sacsayhuaman, when you look at these stones and it looks like they're melted into place, and they're 900 tons. Like, what did you do?
Yeah. How did you even get it up there?
Where'd they get it? How'd you get it there? How'd you align it perfectly? Built in only 18 years. How do they know that? How do they know that? Because it's attributed to one king.
Yeah.
So King Krishna the First, 756 to 773 CE. Maybe. I mean, how do you know though?
Yeah, they said the archaeologists said they calculated it would take them 100 years to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is where
I don't know.
different historian accounts are all like muddled up, in terms-
Well, it's a real problem. History is a real problem.
But yeah, it
because-
goes back to like the thing you were saying, right? What is one thing that's common across all these different ages is human curiosity. So, I mean, that's something that, I would love to get your take on this. I've been toying with this idea called the curiosity premium, which is the most effective people, the most successful people have always been the most curious people, the ones who have been good at asking the best questions. And they tend to do better in every aspect of their life. And you're a good example of that, so that's why I would love to get your take on this. And the reason I believe that is because long term, people who continuously ask questions tend to do better. They make more money. They have a higher quality of life. They're happy. They have more compounding relationships. People find them more interesting, and so they compound their relationships over time. And so naturally, they end up succeeding. But their spirit of inquiry, their intrinsic curiosity doesn't actually stop once they succeed. They just channelize it even more. And so that's why it keeps compounding. And I would argue that it's the only quality that makes us really human. In this world where we can seek a lot of information and get information way faster than ever before, it feels like that's that one universal human quality that's existed since ancient time, since the oldest texts. In fact, in the Rig Veda, you're explicitly encouraged to seek wisdom more than wealth. And it's not just an idea specific to Hinduism. That specific idea exists in the Bible, it exists in the Quran, it exists in the Torah. It's not that seeking wealth is admonished by religious texts. It's actually that it's more important to seek wisdom. And, why I said you're a good example of that is sure, you have a very, very large podcast, but the way you're running it is you're just curious about a lot of things and asking a lot of questions. And I think that's that one quality that's very important. So, and I feel like it's the oldest thing, it's the only thing that we've known since ancient time, being curious.
Well, I think it's stimulating to people, and genuine curiosity is stimulating to other people. When someone is genuinely curious about something, I become curious about it. I think it's contagious. And I think that it's also an authentic quality, and I think there's something about really wanting to know something and being interested in something. And if you're curious, generally you're going to ask more questions about something so you have a deeper understanding of it. So if you're trying to do whatever you're trying to do, a sport, a game, you'll probably get better at it because you're more curious. Because instead of just assuming things, you'll ask more questions, you'll re-examine things. It's one of the most important human qualities, and to me, it's one of the most attractive human qualities. It's always been. When I meet curious people, I'm always interested. I'm always like, tell me what you're curious about, and I'll tell you what I'm curious about. Let's talk. And this podcast started out genuinely because of, well, a lot of it was just talking shit with friends, but it also led into one of my very first actual guests, was Graham Hancock. And it's just because I was curious, because I had read Fingerprints of the Gods and I'd seen him talk, I'd seen speeches, and I'm like, I want to know, what do you know? What do you think's going on? And he's another guy, incredibly curious and absolutely fascinated with his takes on ancient history. He has been talking about this subject a long time. And when he first wrote Fingerprints of the Gods, I think that came out in I want to say it was 97 or 98 or something like that. And I remember reading it, and so many of my friends, educated friends, this is horse shit. Why are you paying attention to this? More and more as time goes on. It's been proven that he's correct. The timelines shifted back, and from the publication of that book, the discovery of Göbekli Tepe and the surrounding area, like it's like, okay, now we realize, well, there was some crazy shit going on at the very least 11,000 years ago. So we pushed civilization back 5,000 years. So like, and this is just what we found now. And we keep finding things, keep digging, keep looking. And then you see the stuff that they're finding underneath the pyramid with this radio tomography where they're looking under the pyramid, that it seems that there's structures under the pyramid. You've seen that stuff?
I haven't seen that.
I had the scientist that's involved in it. He's an Italian guy, Filippo Biondi, and he came on the podcast. Wonderful accent, almost as good as yours. It was amazing. But he's describing the use of this stuff and that they've used it successfully on known areas in pyramids and other structures, and they can. In fact, they in Italy there is a particle collider that is underneath a mountain, and using this technology, which is satellite-based technology, they get an accurate description of this particle collider. That's, I think it's 1,200 meters underground. Like how far is that thing underground? We'll find out. But it's like deep under stone. And they find that they can get an accurate, like they can actually give you the dimensions of this particle collider. They have like an image of it. And this same technology is showing that there's these columns underneath the pyramid in various places that are 20 meters wide, and they have coils around them. They don't know what the hell they are. And the whole structure of this thing, it's not small. It goes almost a kilometer into the ground. There's like this enormous like bottom of it, and it seems like it's something that's constructed. Wow. And so they're like, okay, well, the pyramid is crazy. It's crazy enough. But if there's something underneath it that's a man-made, or someone made it, that's a kilometer deep into the ground, like, what the fuck are we even talking about? Like, who made this? What did they have? 1.2 kilometers into the mountain. That's nuts. It's a half a fucking mile in it plus into the mountain. And this thing can see through all that and get this accurate depiction of this particle collider, and it's showing with multiple scans, not just one, multiple scans in different technology, the same exact images, the same exact structures underneath this fucking immense 2,300,000 stone structure that almost perfectly aligns to true north, south, east, and west. Like, what was going on? Don't tell me pulleys. Don't tell me copper tools. Like, what the fuck was going on? Something crazy. And I have a feeling our simplistic explanation of it is just doing no one any justice. It's doing no service to history. It's doing no service to our understanding. They've got to be a little bit more open in the fact that they are perplexed. And not just perplexed by stuff like this. This is a 3D print of an actual vase that exists in Egypt that they found. They found it in tombs of the Old Kingdom. This thing was somehow or another, it's made with diorite, so it's incredibly hard stone, and made to like 1,000th of a human hair in its, like crazy dimensions. Wow. Like the way the precision of it, and wasn't turned on a lathe because it has handles. Yeah. So you look at the handles on the side. Well, you can't carve those, and those are perfect too. Like the alignment of it, everything. And it's like you just look at it, oh, it's a vase, no big deal. But no, it's kind of fucking crazy. Like, how did they cut that out? There's also there's all these core marks in some of the stones that they find in Egypt, and they've analyzed the amount of revolutions per minute that you would have to go through to be able to cut through something and leave these lines. And it defies explanation. Like, what is this? This is crazy. This is not sand and copper and just rubbing things. No, this is some insane technology that we don't understand. There's scoop marks out of the bottoms of some of these stones. It's like, what the fuck is this? How'd you scoop rock? Like, what? It looks like ice cream. Like they just went whoop. Like, what are they doing? There's so many questions.
What tools did they even have to do all these things?
They had copper. I mean, there's some evidence that they had some iron, And then I think Tutankhamun had a dagger that was actually made from meteorite, which is interesting. You know, like when they could find meteorites and make things out of them was very valuable, obviously. But just the sheer volume of work that they did there, if like you look at the Temple in Man, you look at all the three major pyramids, you look at all the different temples and all the construction, and the older you go, the deeper into the sand they go, the more complex these things are, which is even weirder.
Yeah.
So it seems like civilization after civilization, there was probably a rise and fall with their technology as well.
Absolutely. I think it's just incredible that none of this knowledge was properly documented ever. And it's a whole like line of work to just go understand like how to even rebuild these things, leave alone how did they build it.
Well, think about what we're doing, right? So all of our knowledge is essentially stored on hard drives and paper.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two things that are going to deteriorate the quickest.
Maybe we should like take a dump of the internet and
Put it on a rock.
go preserve it somewhere, so that
Yeah.
even if our civilization is wiped out and all the data centers are like gone or whatever,
Right.
whoever comes next can go figure it out.
Well, I mean, and then you've got to always assume that even if they found a hard drive, that they would, like, how long would it take for them to back engineer what we did and figure out what these ones and zeros actually mean?
Yeah.
Which is one of the most bizarre and fantastic accomplishments
Yeah.
of modern civilization, is that,
Yeah.
like, this is a terabyte,
Yeah.
which is nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what your first computer had.
I don't remember. Definitely not even a gigabyte probably.
No.
Yeah.
Like a few hundred megabytes was
Megabytes,
your
yeah.
hard drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they first came out with gigabytes, I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
remember like when Gmail launched and gave everybody like free email storage, unlimited email storage, and the bottom sliding bar would just keep increasing in terms of the total allowed size,
Yeah.
and that was nuts to me. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we take it for granted that we have like infinite RAM and infinite hard disk, and nobody has to worry about like you back in those days you would worry about like taking too many photos on your phone,
Right.
right? And then you
Yeah.
have to go delete all the old ones or bad ones.
Yeah, you'd run out of storage on your
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah, and then you would have to buy like an external hard drive to keep storing things.
Yeah, I
You keep
remember those
transferring
days.
stuff from your phone to the hard disk.
I remember the old Android phones, you could get an SD card.
Yeah.
You could slip one of those in there and you could
Yeah.
store images on that. So
Yeah.
you could save space.
Yeah,
And all that stuff is so vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's so vulnerable. And again, if a completely alien society had to come down and find our hard drives and they went a totally different path of technology, they'd have to back engineer, reverse engineer everything that we did, try to figure out, what are we using? What operating system? How's the operating system work? Is it Unix? Is it Linux? Is it like, what is it? How do they do it? It would be a nightmare.
they would need an advanced AI to like figure it all out for them.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so that's just if the hard drives survive, right? So if there's some massive flood, cataclysm, whatever, some horrific thing that damages all of our electronics, which is totally possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just some solar flare, some intense,
or just another lab leak.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just time.
Yeah.
A lab leak in time.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's nuts. And we could go back to zero real quick. And we would basically be like preppers and
it
hunter
would be hard to
gatherers.
reverse engineer everything again.
It would be almost impossible.
Yeah,
Which is why I'm really fascinated by the post-flood timeline. Because if these people like Graham Hancock and a lot of these other folks that have speculated that there was probably a very advanced civilization that went in a completely different direction many thousands of years ago, if you look at like the emergence of like Sumer and Mesopotamia and that area, which a lot of people attribute to be the earliest known civilization,
Mm-hmm.
that's around 5,000 plus 6,000 years ago, right?
Yeah, roughly.
So the flood's like 11,000 years ago plus. So you're looking at like 5,000 years of what?
It's not even that long in the grand scheme of things.
No, not to the earth,
Yeah.
but for people,
Yeah.
pretty fucking long.
Exactly.
Like think of how long it took us to get our shit together.
Yeah,
It took thousands and thousands and thousands of years of people probably being monsters, just being the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only way they survived. There's probably a lot of cannibalism.
Yeah.
There was a lot of murder. There was a lot of like horrific shit going on for 5,000 years until people slowly but surely figured out agriculture again.
Yeah.
Started building walls. Everybody relaxed a little. Got some solid weapons to keep people away so you could work on math. And then next thing you know, civilization emerges again. And
Yeah.
it goes right back onto the cycle. And then you start reading in the Rig Veda about stuff that happened thousands of years. You go, "Wait, what the fuck is this? Like, what
Yeah.
happened?"
Yeah.
And that's my belief.
Yeah.
I think there was something going on Earth many, many, many thousands of years before established beginnings of history that was very bizarre. And probably technology that went in a completely different direction than what we're doing now with combustion engines and circuits and all the different things that we use.
Yeah.
They probably figured out some other kind of technology,
Exactly. Yeah.
which is totally possible.
And it's amazing. Like, it's amazing to think of, like, what if we could rediscover all of that again? And,
Yes. Well, I would love to be able to. Yeah, I would love to just have if I could choose one window in time to go back to see what it would look like, I would 100% pick ancient Egypt.
the pyramids.
Show me what the fuck
Yeah.
was going on.
Yeah.
If there's just put me in a big hamster wheel. There's a big plastic bubble where no one could see me. Just let me violate space and time and exist there for just a few minutes. Just let me look. I think that would be the most insane thing that you could see about humans and human history.
Yeah.
I want to know what they knew, what they had, what they used.
Just looking this thing, Petra's same time period, at least attributed to 7,000 roughly BC.